Touchdown with Aaron Masemola. On the bench with local legends. Your questions, your heroes.
Welcome to the Touchdown with Aaron Masemola. And yes, it is a massive opportunity for us to chat all things rugby with domestic rugby starting in South Africa again. This week, we will see the first round of the Super Rugby Unlocked kick-off right here in South Africa. But joining me is a player from the Toyota Cheetahs. We usually see him in the prop position and is also a man who played on Saturday at Newlands Stadium during the Springbok Green versus Gold game that we saw there. His name is Luan de Bruin. Luan, hoe gaan het? Baie goed, dankie. Luan, I would love to touch on that massive game that we saw on Saturday at Newlands, the Springbok Green versus Gold. You were part of the victorious team there, taking that 125 points to 9 points. And most importantly, you got the opportunity to play with some of the big name players like Siya Kolisi, Mbonambi, as well as Dwayne Vermeulen. How was that experience for you?
Aaron, actually, it was a great experience. Like in the beginning of the week, and when they read the team, I was at home with my wife and my family, and it was just, how can I tell you, it was nerve-wracking. And then obviously you get the opportunity in the squad, and I don't know what's going on. You fly out, you go there. It's massively daunting, and there's, like you said, it's big names. You always see them, you play against them, and you never sit and have a coffee or chat about his life and his story. You just see him, hello, thank you, cheers, and that's it. So it was actually very daunting. We got there and it was just not stiff, but it was, you don't know each other that well, and you meet each other, it's nice, and it's a great experience. And then as the week progressed, we had a scrum session and a mauling session, and that's like the thing about forwards. Always after a session like that, just be together, sweat together, and then it's like you just click, everybody's his friend. And then all the nerves and all that was just gone. It was just massive lack of opportunity to meet these guys, hear their stories, how their lives are, and the way they approach rugby, the way they work, their work ethic off the ball, on the field, off the field. It's something else to see. It's nice to see.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. And I mean, looking at such an iconic match at such an iconic venue, the Newlands Stadium, of course, a stadium with a rich history of 113 years. Unfortunately, we will now see rugby being played at the Cape Town Stadium. How important was it for you to also play in such an iconic stadium? But this difference was the fact that there were no fans in the stadium as well. And is this something that you have gotten used to? Because it might become the new norm that you don't play without any fans.
Firstly, it was very sad actually just to play the last game on Newlands or at Newlands. And it's sad to see the place going to be whatever they're going to do with it. I'm not sure. But it's just sad. It's like it's been part of our South African history for 130 years. And if you ask people, and they will tell you, listen, I went with my dad. I went to watch Currie Cup there. Like we got there in Cape Town, the bus driver told us, he said, listen, I went with my father. I watched rugby games there when I was a little boy. So it's very sad to see, and still it's a massive privilege to play the last game there. I think it's a good way to say goodbye, and it's always been a great field to play in and at with the support and all the fans there. And it's just always the vibe there is just great. And then secondly, without the vibe there, it is quite difficult. Sometimes you feed off the energy of the crowd, like when you're really tired and it's not going your way, and the crowd just cheers, and there's a big hit or a big tackle, and the crowd just cheers. You feed off it. So it's obviously like somebody once told me, and he told me it was 2013. He told me we should stop thinking about rugby as a job. You're a modern day gladiator. So you actually do this for the people. Yeah, it's a lucky work. It's a nice job. And rugby is lucky. We love it. All do. That's why we play it. But you still do it too for the fans and the crowd. So it's difficult, and it's going to be difficult for a while until there's people in the stadium. So, but it's something to get used to, definitely.
Definitely. I love what you mentioned there. You talk about being a modern day gladiator, and you mentioned 2013. Absolutely love that. But also 2013 was a very special year for you. You were named as a part of the under 20 South African team that went to France in the Junior World Championship. How important was that tournament for you as a young rugby player at the time?
Aaron, at that moment, it was huge. It's like you go through stages of life and you have certain dreams and goals. And at that stage of my life, that was a goal. It was a dream, and it was difficult because I had a few injuries in 2012, my first year under 19. I had a few injuries, and yeah, I didn't play the best rugby at that time in my life. And then you get time and you get placed in a squad and you go to camps and you go to trials, and it's every 6 weeks you go on trials and camps, and it was just, I think it was part of forming who I am and today as a rugby player, because you worked with David Tron, Brennan Venter, all those guys, Jonathan McQuena. So you work with all those legends, and David, as strict as he is and probably always be, he was a great mentor. I really look up to him. He's one of my mentors. So it was great to work with them, and unfortunately we lost in the semi-final against Wales. But it was genuine. The group of guys we worked with was just awesome, and such great friends. And I think it really had a big part of my career, and it made a part of what I am today.
Definitely. I think looking at your career as well, I know that at one point or another you did go through those injuries, as you did mention when you were playing under 19, as well as throughout the latter part of your career. You've gone through periods where you were unfortunately injured, and then you made your comeback in 2018 as well. How important has the support staff of the Cheetahs, as well as your family, been during these difficult times that you can't avoid in the sport of rugby?
I think your support base in injuries or in sporting injuries I think it's a massive role. I'll take, for instance, when I had my back operation, I think it was 2017. I was still single, all that stuff. My dad came down from Hartenbos, and he stayed with me for 6 months. So literally, he left my mother for 6 months and came to stay with me and help me through the rehab, the walking, starting walking again. He was there with so I think your support staff is just generally it's massive. And then the last few years, the injury started not progressing, getting worse, but after that it was just the turnaround time was really short. So I missed the 2016 Currie Cup, I missed last year's Currie Cup due to just stupid injuries, and it's just nitty-gritty stuff. But like my wife, she's my biggest supporter. She goes out of her way to make sure I eat right, I eat clean, I drink my water, pack my lunch boxes. She'll call me before every game and talk to me and motivate me. And afterwards, she'll send a massive message and say, listen here, not just like it was good, but listen, this was good, that wasn't that good. So I think she's my biggest support base at this moment. Obviously, I still have my father and my mother in Hartenbos, but at home, my wife she's my biggest fan. She'll motivate me to get up in the morning. Listen here, if I'm having a bad day, she said, no, listen here, listen to this music. Here's a little prayer. Here's some gospel or whatever. So I think truly your support base in injuries, and that's how I have to give credit to my wife. I'll tip my hat for her, because I'm not the easiest guy when I'm injured. It's like, I think any rugby player, he gets quite grumpy because you want to play. It's like a lion in a cage. So you're laying in bed, you're grumpy, you're irritated, and then you lash out. So I think definitely I give credit to her. She stuck it out with me, and I've had a few bad injuries, and she has been bad sometimes.
Absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy that she's been there to support you throughout some of the tough moments, because truth of the matter is you can't go through those times alone, and I'm so happy that you had her there just to take you through those moments as well. But looking at the future of South African rugby, I mean, domestic rugby is back, and you guys have had some action with the Cheetahs playing against the Griquas in 2 warm-up matches. You played this past weekend on Newlands Stadium, and most importantly, we now focus to your game against the Pumas on Saturday. What's the vibe like in the camp, and how are the boys feeling ahead of the start of this new domestic season?
I think everybody's pumped. I'm pumped. Truly, I can't wait for it to get started, because It's been, 6 months now. And even though we've played rugby against the Griquas and this green and gold, it was an awesome experience. But it's still, you haven't played with your team and your mates, your brothers. So everybody's pumped. And I know there's some bad reviews on last week's game against Griquas. But if you take that out of the equation and you take our first game against Griquas, I'm truly excited. I spoke to Frans Steyn last night about it as well. We went through phases, and that's something we haven't really done in a while. Even in pro rugby, we couldn't go through phases, and that was lucky because we played Griquas. We were 30 knots up at halftime, and it was just they tackled us and they smoked us. It was a physical game, but we kept the ball. Even if we were going backwards, we kept the ball. We went through phases, and the cracks just started showing, and that's what's lucky. You grind it out, and yeah, that's the best part. I think, me personally, I love a physical game. Even if you get knocked down, you get up and you go again. So games like that, and that's games like the Pumas, the Griquas. Those are games you're looking forward to because it's always unpredictable, and you know you're going to have to man up. It's not going to be clinical, fast, and just job orientated. You can know it's going to be a scuffle. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very bad. But it's always that's a lack of games. So that's
Definitely.
So, looking forward to this weekend.
Definitely, and those are the games that a lot of people actually enjoy. They remind me of some good old schoolboy rugby as well, some good old rugby as well. So looking at the season, I know that last year the Cheetahs won the Currie Cup, and there is a little bit of additional pressure going into this new season as well. The question is, will the Cheetahs be able to defend the Currie Cup as well? How are the boys feeling in terms of the psychological pressure? Because now all of a sudden you guys have a massive target on your back that you guys have to defend the Currie Cup going into the season.
I think it's always difficult to go into a Currie Cup and now you have to defend it. It's daunting. It's because you never come for you, and the pressure is much more because you have much more to lose. So I think it's a good start, and it's a good thing for us just to try and win it again, because like I spoke to you just before this as well about the Pro 14 stuff. I think there we don't have to point to show, but I think, you're just going to have to still show we're the best in South Africa, and what better way to do it than win the Currie Cup, and in a competition coming for many years. And it's one of our biggest and greatest competitions we have. So I think the guys are ready. I think we have a point to show or prove, and I think the Currie Cup is going to be the best way to do it.
Definitely. You touch on the Guinness Pro 14 there, and looking at the Southern South African region, looking at Bloemfontein specifically as well, there has been a little bit of uncertainty going into the decision regarding the Pro 14, and now that we have witnessed the results of the decision that SA Rugby has made with regards to the Cheetahs playing or not playing Pro 14, there has been a little bit of sadness, and there has been a lot of expectations for the Cheetahs to perform as well. Is there any particular message that you as a player and also representing the Toyota Cheetahs would like to share with the supporters of the Free State Cheetahs? Because at the end of the day, we still back you and we are still behind you.
Aaron, I think the biggest message I'd like to give the supporters and fans out there is just keep on believing, keep the faith, keep the hope, keep on praying. And like in 2016-17, when we lost our place in the Super Rugby, we got the Pro 14 stuff like within months. So I think it is bad. It's not lacquer and all that stuff. But I think it's to be positive is always a good mindset. I think that's something you can learn yourself. For the people to know, keep the faith, keep on believing in the Cheetahs, and keep on praying. It will get better, and they will open up something new for the Cheetahs, and then we're going forward again.
Definitely. And I think the most important thing, you talk about keeping the faith. We are definitely backing you going into this new domestic season. You're playing against the Pumas on Saturday. We're wishing you all the best. We will most certainly be watching. And most importantly, we look forward to watching your star rise as one of the role models in terms of Free State Rugby, and a man who always plays good old rugby and puts that the solid brand of rugby on his chest and just carries the team. So well done to you, and most importantly, obviously good luck for your journey as well. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for having me. It was really like.
Touchdown with Aaron Masemola. On the bench with local legends. OFM Sport. The personalities behind the plays.